Kids in cages, kids in cages. Kids in cages is really triggering, really upsetting, really distracting when you hear that phrase. Kids in cages, oh my gosh, right? So that started under the CIA driven team that was trying to oust Trump, that hated Trump really badly. They started this phrase, kids in cages. Unfortunately, the actual phenomenon of separating children from whoever they came across the border with and throwing them into tiny cages, private prison, Pam Bondi, private prison deal group, Nazi cages, that was started under Obama. Yeah, Obama really had that going. And of course, his people, Larry Summers and Victoria Nuland, Anthony Blinken, they were actually doing things. None of the liberals now, none of the Democrats now are able to remember or to know that Victoria Nuland, for example, was the one who said, let's install someone in Ukraine, so she's pretty much responsible for all the death in Ukraine that's been happening now, pretty much on Victoria Nuland and decisions that was made after the Maidan meeting, the Minsk Accords, and then after Yanukovych was voted in, then they decided to get rid of Yanukovych and install Zelensky. No one noticed, no one cares. See, and that's the kind of thing where kids in cages. So then when kids in cages everybody's really morally outraged about that under Trump. They thought, oh my gosh, Trump is going to do this, kids in cages. Oh my God. But actually it was the Biden policy that followed, then just allowing unvetted during a pandemic. You're not going to test people for COVID or anything like that. You're just going to let them right in to the country. You're going to flood certain parts of the country with really dense, specific groups of them, these new immigrants, right? So immigrants, the Irish people that immigrated here in the past and end up, mixing up with the Choctaws, they were not. I mean, when they came here, they didn't hate America. They weren't trying to replace America or trying to impose Sharia law on America. They were trying to actually fit in. They were trying to kind of reduce their accent a little bit, try to sound a little more American. That's what that was in the past, right? So you liked America, you're trying to join America. Now most of the immigrants that have been brought in are really hostile. Whatever they've been told they're going to be given a bunch of free stuff, and they hate us, and they're not trying to build an industry or a reputation for themselves as pasta makers like New Italians in New York or something like that. They're not really saying, hey, here we are, we're Somalis, we're going to contribute this to America. In fact, they're saying, no, we're going to shut it down. We're going to hate and kill America because that's why we're here, kind of. Hate, kill, and replace. And that's really sad. But kids in cages, kids in cages. Yeah, you can't say anything about it when a Democrat gets in power and the number of kids in cages ramps up, and then the journalism they just made the journalists go away from where the kids were in cages, so the conditions for the kids in the cages actually got worse. The number of kids in cages and the numbers that were taken away for whatever reason to be used as organ harvest material for who knows, Israelis or China, we don't know where. These kids just disappeared. Kids disappeared. Women off the reservations disappearing, just disappeared, literally just disappeared. So are they just being raped by rich people somewhere? We don't know, right? Rich people in their little love dungeon at their little mini mansion, or the little love dungeon on their second yacht or whatever, where they can strap a young girl naked to the wall and electroshock her for pleasure, whatever they do, whatever that gets them going, But unfortunately, the Americans and the liberals and the left and the right and the center and all that, nobody's talking about anything that matters anymore. The deep state has also taken over Trump, and it's just they're just doing whatever they want to do. They're just think, oh look, We need that oil. Let's just grab that guy. Don't just grab him. Grab that guy. Grab him. No process. No nothing. Oh look, there's people at the in front of the courthouse trying to say that their sister shouldn't have been deported. You know what? Let's just grab her. Boom. She's just gone. Disappeared. No warrant. No nothing. Just boom. No posse comitatus. No habeas corpus. No constitution. That's all gone. That's all gone. But you do have a really snarky, hatred for President Trump. And so that's really, disempowering. As disempowering as that is, it must be fun, or it must make you feel like you're part of a tribe or something, because that's what still keeps happening. This is kind of impotent stabbing at white supremacists, right? I have people that come on my thread and just tell me they just hate me. They want to kill me. I am the problem. Now, I voted for Jill Stein, but somehow by my skin tone and the fact that I'm willing to say things against President Biden, and Larry Summers and whatever, Raytheon, Lockheed, West Exec. I'm willing to talk about these different. So because of that, they think that I am a pro-Trumper, right? That I'm a pro-Trump white supremacist. So that's kind of, they have all of these people in America right now. They cannot see John Brennan. They can't see Raytheon. They can't see anything Wall Street's doing. The banks got bailed out, we got sold out. That was the last time Americans had consciousness. The last time they had class consciousness. And see what the rich people did is said, we're going to do this little Occupy thing. You actually did occupy some places in America, and you were kind of becoming a presence, and you were bringing awareness to class realities, class consciousness, class realities. We can't have that anymore. You know what? None of you people are going to be focused on class anymore. If you are focused on anything that helps you as a class, we're going to call you racist. That's probably white supremacist. Solidarity. The word solidarity now kind of means Nazi. It means you're a Nazi or something. So if you have solidarity with other working class people, obviously something's wrong with you. You're racist. So solidarity is racist. Working class people talking amongst themselves and organizing is racist. Okay. The only thing that's not racist is just converting yourself, becoming trans, or, just embracing, never saying anything about Raytheon or West Exec, and just embracing Joe Biden, just loving the presidents and that the deep state puts in front of us. So whatever kind of mentally deficient president they put in front of us, you just have to love them or hate them. So you're going to do a dance with the president while real power does stuff all around you, and you're not going to see it. You will be super triggered by white people that maybe voted for Trump, white people you've never seen. Maybe they're like white people you don't even know. Maybe they're in Kentucky or something. Where are these white people? Anyway, if you live in the Bay Area, where are these white supremacist, horrible white people that voted for Trump and are ruining everything, right? They have so much power. These white supremacists that are voting for Trump are doing so much more to the country than the Pentagon is. The Pentagon is awesome and cool. We love the Pentagon. Pentagon has a D by its name now, right? CIA, FBI, that has a D, and it says bad things about Trump, so it's good. CIA, good. FBI, good. Pentagon, good. Global war, good. Hot war with Russia, good. Right? No diplomacy with Russia, but just hot war with Russia, good. Okay, that's according to these people. These are Anthony Blinken type people that are in control now. And so you need to be paranoid about Russia while we grab the oil in Venezuela and try to keep Venezuela from selling its oil to Iran. So that Iran can't then become more powerful and maybe become real opposition to Israel. Because that's who's running everything. That's why everybody's crazy. That's why we're an empire in total collapse. Being controlled by some foreign Praetorian, some hostile Polish man named Benzion Milikowski, who's changed his name to Bibi Netanyahu, and is now manipulating the whole Western world into war. Because that's what his type likes. Small opportunists, control freaks from countries with chosen people delusions that of all that God made the planet, God made the people, but somehow God chose the Jews. Oh, isn't that weird? God chose the Israelites and the Judeans, I guess, both of them. I don't know. But God, they're the chosen people, Jeff. It's so funny that Christians would even say that. Christians have been, mind warped by Zionism as well. A lot of Christians in America, most of them are Zionist. Most people calling themselves Christians now are actually demonic. They don't have anything to do with the Christ that is described in Luke chapter 4, verse 17. And Jesus, the adult Jesus, comes back to a village, goes into the synagogue and says, look, love, let people out of the prisons, let people out of dead prison, heal the sick, cure the blind, heal people, feed people. That's what I'm here to do. I'm going to declare a year of the Lord's favor, meaning a Jubilee year. And I'm here to do that. That's how I define my mission here in Luke 4:17. I'm defining my mission here by quoting from Isaiah. See, most modern Christians, they totally miss that. And they've allowed it to be politicized and taken over by demon pedophiles like Jerry Falwell and McCoy and people like that, right? So these people, these fake pastors that are not Christians at all. TPUSA, not Christian, right? When you're vying for power and lying and vilifying people, you're not a Christian. Sorry, not Christian. Not Christian. So most modern humans on the planet right now, not Christian. Sorry. And so we need to get that back. And it's happened to other religions too. But hey, this has been good. I think it's productive. And we're gonna rock it out. All right, we're gonna rock out, and we're gonna have some fun in the future. I think it's crazy. I think it's about to go off, man. I think it's like this about to go off. 2026. There's gonna be like an economic crash and crazy war thing, and a bunch of libtards triggered about that. What was it going to be bird flu or something? Probably a new disease that the CDC weaponizes and releases on us. Probably already got that in the works. Could be a flu. Could just maybe this flu, bad flu. Hasn't really hit yet this winter. We'll see. They're going to tell you things like zinc and elderberry and staying hydrated and going out in the sun, having a joyful life. None of those things matter. What you have to do is comply with the mRNA nanolipid product that we put together to inject you with, which no longer actually even addresses the pathogen that's still currently going around. we actually need for everyone to take it. So that kind of stuff is still operative. That kind of thing is still happening. These psychological operations are still operative. That's the thing, is that the psyop of like the Cuban Missile Crisis or something. Imagine if that was like front and center in your mind every day for years. It was just Cuban Missile Crisis and JFK bad. Like you never got beyond that. The deep state said, hey man, JFK blew it. He's an idiot. We needed to start a war with Cuba. He didn't let that happen. Now, oh my gosh, he's an idiot. Lame duck. Said they just killed his ass. Actually, when Kennedy got killed, and we still don't have good answers for that, that's pretty much letting you know that America is in a really bad state of decline. Our president got shot right in front of us, okay? Now we fast forward to Donald Trump. The deep state hates him, and they tried to kill him in public twice. I think there's only 3 actually shooting death attempts on his life. 2 that I can remember now, and one I'm murky on right now. But anyway, so 2 attempts on his life and 2 impeachment efforts and da da da. I hated him. Hate Trump. Make Trump the focus. Make him the faux opposition. And that's what's happened. We're still not out of this. It's 2026 and we are still not out of this thing that I want to say started in 2016. 10 years ago, John Brennan met with Podesta and others, and they were Samantha Powers, whoever they were, Lisa Page. I never mentioned her. There's a few others, but anyway, they started this whole thing, gonna blame Trump winning on Russia and just gaslight the whole country. That they started that in 2016. 2017 for real. Really, January, started for hardcore. And maybe then another time to say when things were kind of seminal, kind of starting, was maybe when the 13 bankers took over Obama. So you remember candidate Obama was going to give us Medicare for all and was going to be really nice. He's going to punish the banks that had failed, the too big to fail. Remember that? We were going to break them up, punish some of them. That was candidate Obama, 2008. Well, January 2009, boom, 13 bankers call a meeting with President Obama, and they take him in, show him the secret horrible footage of whatever they do to scare people. He walked out of there with his tail between his legs and said, I think we're all on the same page here, meaning him and the bankers were now on the same page that we were just going to give away the TARP, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, but we were just going to go ahead and just give that to the bankers. Obama did that. He didn't break up any bankers. There was no consequence for any failings, any derivatives trading, any of that. Nobody got punished for anything. Nothing got reformed. And we're speeding into calamity, okay, because of that. And Obama instead went on to drone bomb civilians all over the world, including an American. So, but people love Obama now. They got him up on it. They love Obama and Biden. It's amazing. The partisan dipshits in this country, it just blows me away at this point, the level of them and how many of them there are. I go out there in America, and a lot of times I'm surprised in nice ways by how many people aren't totally duped by partisan rhetoric or NPR BS. They're not just NPR'd out of their minds. But then at other times I'm really surprised by how many people are. And especially as I move closer to what are quote unquote educated circles. When I'm moving closer to the professional class, people that have good paying jobs, live in gated communities or live in protected condo towers or nice private houses, that have kind of an economic future. They maybe own their house, they own their condominium, they're not just renters, they're invested in some way. Anyway, those people, for the most part, are all mostly duped, mostly focused on Donald Trump as sort of like some kind of sole source of power, some sole, point of problems. It's all Donald Trump, right? So those people, the whole professional class is pretty much focused on Donald Trump. They've been turned against working class people, told that they're all racist. They've been told that everyone who works with his hands or is in another part of the country is probably a racist white male. We need to alienate them and vilify them and even kill them. I'm gonna kill you. So the culture war is being stoked up and class awareness has been pushed way down. And even leftists who used to focus on class awareness have also fallen into the Trump derangement syndrome. They're totally focused on white supremacy and Trump, and they still can't see Raytheon, they can't see Pfizer, they can't see the creeping corporate medical weaponized coup that has taken over. They can't see it. Cannot see it. Few people on Substack can see it. Chris Hedges can see it. Max Blumenthal can see it. Abby Martin sees it. Jimmy Dore sees it. David Chappelle sees it. But most of your friends that are calling themselves Democrats can't see it, won't see it. They love Kamala. They think Kamala is awesome. The prosecutor who separated, mothers because of their truant kids, and the prosecutor, the kind of an idiot, the person who walked around going, so when you ask her a direct question, why don't you guys do anything about the kids in cages? You said there was a really big deal. Why aren't you guys doing anything about it? So there's time, and then there's the past, and there's the future, and the future is tomorrow's past unburdened by today. Okay? All right, thank you. That was Kamala. And people loved her. People thought she was it. No one seemed to start a campaign to support Jill Stein or to help her or to bring more awareness to the fact that Obamacare still sucks. We're still vulnerable. So now it's like, subsidize. So the government has to subsidize it. We just have to give money to the private equity healthcare system because it's failed so bad. Otherwise, people's premiums are going to be way too high. So either I, as a taxpayer, have to subsidize Obamacare, or people can't afford it. See, that sucks. That's a bad system. I need more of you out there to wake up, open your eyes, and realize Obamacare sucked. Obamacare completely sucks. HMO-driven healthcare is a complete sham, okay? And we need more people to see this and be aware of it. Of course, they weren't. And when Obama put his name on it, they liked it. Suddenly it's, Jeff, you're just saying that. More people are covered now. 26-year-old children who still live at home with their parents. If you're 26 and still live at home, you're privileged. You're a little brat bitch. You don't need me to pay for your health care. I was kicked out of the house early, man. I can live at home at 26. But anyway, people are 26, they're living at home, they could get coverage under their parents and all this kind of stuff. That all got covered, and that's all nice. And people liked it. They bought it. They fell for it, see? But then the Republicans who are working class people who realized how much it sucked, that's the main reason the first time no one acknowledges still the unpopularity of Obamacare and forcing you to pay a mandated premium to a private equity firm, a Wall Street private equity firm, which basically says no to you. Whenever you need something, they say no. That sucks. And if the Democrats at that time could have rallied around and said, you know what, we need to reform Obamacare. You're right. The Republicans, whoever are critical of Obamacare, you are correct. We have enough integrity to be honest about that. We're going to try to reform it. We're going to try to get those premiums down. Monthly premiums. That's it. And then what kind of services do they still willing to provide? They say in their own business plans, they don't want to provide any services. They want to deny everything. That's what they say in their business plan. And then they come on and show you a picture of blueberries and say thrive. And you all fell for it. So there's no class awareness. There's no help for working class people right now. They're pretty much isolated. And that's pretty much why we're ripe for civil war. Right? If someone can just talk, organize, we're going to help, we're going to lift all boats. We're going to quit saying shitty things about one group of people, picking out white males and saying it's okay for us to vilify them based on their skin tone and gender. And that somehow is really empowering for us. See, that is disempowering. That is part of the elite plan that's spelled out. You can see these plans to divide you, and yet you're falling for it. And again, you still can't see Raytheon. You still can't see Lockheed. You still can't see West Exec. You still can't see, anybody. If they put a D by their name, they're nice. They're good. And they just get to operate freely. No problem. No scrutiny. John Brennan has been doing whatever the fuck he wants to do for decades now. And he's an evil torture piggy who hates Americans. He hates working class people. He hates the Constitution. And he is the operative thing that nobody sees or talks about. All right. Have a good one.